We heard this eminent panel, talking about entrepreneurship, talking about, how do you start an organization? Why do you start an organization? Entrepreneurs do start with a vision, right? I have not seen an entrepreneur who says, I'm starting the company so that I can pay my bills. That is not usually how it happens. They usually start with a dream. And I heard Ninad saying, the priorities tend to be meeting next month's, payroll. But when somebody starts a organization or a company, the choice that person has is also to work for someone else and really not be bothered about day-to-day, running about. Entrepreneurs, they say, are good at spotting opportunities, problems as opportunities rather than problems as difficulties. They look at a problem, look at an opportunity, spot an opportunity, and try to see if they can commercially solve that problem to create an enterprise. A business plan ought to be doing that so that when an opportunity or a situation arises for a business, some thought has already gone through. It doesn't mean that a business plan is a rigid document. It's something that doesn't change with time, obviously not. Because as an entrepreneur starts business, when he starts a business, there is very little that he knows, and there is, the level of knowledge or the visibility is very low, and the risks or unknown factors are very high. At some point, as he goes through the cycle, he or she goes through the cycle, at some point, the visibility or ability to know what's happening and the risks actually meet at a point. So, there's this meeting point where you feel the business has now reached a steady state. But it takes time and it takes a lot of experiences. And some of the assumptions that you initially start with may actually not hold good as you go forward. When we start with customer in the mind, the market in the mind, most of entrepreneurs that do not make the cut actually start with the product or service that they have and then try to find a market or a customer for that product or service. It comes from a number of things. It comes from their core competence, their area of comfort. It comes from their prior experience or whatever it could be. But even a go-to-market strategy is complemented by a good go-to-market plan. And a good business plan without a good go-to-market plan is actually really of no value. We've seen business plans, as investor, you get to see a number of business plans. And there are very nice, jazzy Excel sheets. But, if you don't ask the critical question of who my customer is and how am I going to reach that customer, what will it take for me, my small actions, big actions, you will find that that plan will not be received very well. A good business plan has to have a good cash flow plan. And that cash flow plan must account for the uncertainties so that when an investor or somebody who values the company looks at it, it sounds a credible business rather than just an idea or a vaporware.